Hello everyone, we are SwagVintageAZ and we are going to go thrifting today. This was on a super chilly day in Phoenix. We just experienced a cold snap. Quick reminders of all of our stuff, right? We're on Etsy, we're on Instagram, obviously we're here on YouTube, and a lot of our items these days are ending up in our booth at Brass Armadillo in Phoenix, the I-17 and Cactus Road location. We are booth P2 in the Parlor, which is a side gallery kind of off the main mall. All right, let's get started. Okay, so here we are looking in the bric-a-brac random aisle. Lots of animals. That's what I always like to check out. This was a nice little stone elephant, looked contemporary, and sure enough it was. So I left it behind, but it was cute and had a nice weight to it. I just think the styling of it was a little too modern for what we do here with our vintage stuff. Some nice art glass birds, metal fish, leaving it all behind, however, because not quite what I sell. Today at the Thrift, they had this really great collection of all these salt and pepper shakers, but they were all tagged with the prices of a different antique seller, and they wanted $4.50 for each of these, and that's how much the antique booth was selling them for. So, I mean, if another antique booth can't sell them, I'm not gonna risk it, right? Okay, a made in Japan plate. This looked like a funny little miniature decanter. And then I do believe, yep, I went back for it because I thought, oh, this will go well with the propagating at home. So that's the first item I chose. Fresh cart here, not too successful. Looks like board games. I, of course, saw these wood pieces and had to check them out. This was looking promising. We've sold a couple pieces like this out of the booth, and I thought I had a matching pair, but that one had a lot of damage on it, so I decided to leave those in their bins. Just checking things out to see some glass pieces, but nothing jumped out at me. Into the blankets, always looking for a handmade vintage Afghan, but nothing happened that day. Into the art, and that was an original piece that was signed, but it was a bit clumsy. Here I was curious about it because I thought it was a gold frame mirror, and then it was like this plastic box. I don't know what it is, but I was just investigating. And as I'm looking here in the framed pieces, a lot of just kind of generic commercial stuff. And then I saw this and looked very intriguing. It had dried plants with a loom in the center, like a miniature loom. I tried to look for some information on the back. It looks like a newer frame, but this seemed, okay, there I'm zooming in, and I thought, oh, that looks like Navajo language with English. And so I will tell you more about that item later. Here in the smaller art, nice little piece by DeGrazia, which is a very popular, good-selling brand. I don't know much about DeGrazia, the artist. All I know is that when I was a kid, those things, our lives were lousy with DeGrazia here in the Southwest. So we have a lot of them in our thrifts. That wasn't an original piece, it's just a print. I liked this little bowl, and I set it in my cart. I don't know why I did that, though, because I didn't have any intentions of buying it. I think I meant to put it back in the dishware section, which I eventually do because I did not pick that one up. And this is the wood section, my favorite section. And here I see this little face poking out at me. And it's this really silly, charming wood fish. And it did not cost a lot of money. I think that was $2.50. So I thought, I'll get that. I'll put it in the booth. It's cute. This would have been a great little copper and brass chest or miniature chest. However, the hinges were broken, and so I had to leave it, but how sad, right? Another box had a nice carving of like a tree of life kind of a thing, though I think it was newer and not quite my vibe, so I let that one go. Zooming in, nice little coaster set. And kindness matters. That is a true statement. But not seeing anything else there, so we moved along. And here I saw this interesting glass thing, but I have no idea what it is or what it could be used for, so we left it. Into the clear glass bottles. Again, just always looking for something for propagating. This looked intriguing, but not high quality, so we let that one go. And nothing else. Here's some milk glass, and I believe that was Fire King, Anchor Hawking. Yep. And it didn't have any sort of decor on it or anything. It was just straight up milk glass, so I did not pick those up. Into the mugs, one of my favorite places to look. And I usually just skim the top, and I can typically see like a handle or, you know, the bottom of something that looks vintage or intriguing in any way. Like here's a piece. It looks to be handmade, but it's not signed, and I didn't love the shape, so we left that. This, I was wondering if that was Fiesta ware, but it doesn't have the right ridges on it, so left that. And I don't know why I picked up this piece. Hand painted, probably. So I checked that out and put it back. And here is the other big score of the day. Look at this menorah. My goodness gracious. It is brass. It's in a mid-century brutalist style. Absolutely gorgeous. I put that in the cart super fast because I was very excited to find it. I have sold menorahs before. They're always a great find. I think they're really, really special pieces. Really, anything that has, you know, a ritualistic history to it, I think is extremely special. Here I was intrigued by this newer piece. I liked the geometry and the lines on it, but I left that behind because I do have something similar in the booth right now that hasn't sold yet, so I didn't want to double up. Just checking out a fake candle. Always got to look at the bottom rack and get low. Here we are in candle holders. Checking out some glass pieces. Not loving them. Here I liked these little guys, but they were $3.50 each. They looked to be like silver plated, at least based on the tarnish. But for $7 for both of them, I didn't think I could get much more in the booth or online for sure. So here is this really nice vintage trinket kind of kitchen shelf. Lovely wood. However, I don't have a purpose. Oh, I see. And it has ridges for like plates. I don't have a purpose for it, so I had to leave that one. And then this, made in Portugal. Can't tell if it's vintage or not. That green looked flashed on. This green looked nicer to me. I was more partial to that, but there was just one of each. I didn't really know what the history was for those. They could have been newly made, so I left them. Here I am just looking at the animals again, and this little guy popped up. I don't know if he was here the last time I was at this shelf, but wow, for $40, yeah, I shook his head no. I mean, I would have picked it up if it had been $5, $3, but no, not $40. Here are a couple of vintage brass and maybe like a shell or maybe just an enamel frame for $1.50 each. I thought, yeah, let's get these. We'll put them in the booth. You know, maybe I can get $6 each for them. And again, that's just how I inch my way, scratch and claw my way. Oh, there I am putting back the bowl, just as I said I would. But yeah, it's all about those little sales adding up, particularly in the booth. That's, you know, turning $1 into $5 or $6 is how I pay my rent and get a little gas money for the month. Here I'm really just looking out of curiosity at some of these dish pieces. I'm not picking up dishware these days, so. And then, of course, into the lamps, my favorite section. And this stacked lucite lamp has been here for a while. They have a high price on it, $25, and it's damaged. It may even have been in one of my other videos, but that one's been taunting me cruelly for the last few weeks. This particular Goodwill is very close to my home and my work, so I'm here quite a lot. And it's a small Goodwill, so it doesn't have as much of turnover at merchandise, but I enjoy it nonetheless. Here I am. This looked like a relatively promising blazer, but it was a bit dingy and I let it go. So I don't look at clothes too often, particularly on camera, but that one was sticking out. Here I am in purses and handbags. I love looking for vintage purses and handbags. Today, however, was not my day, but I'm always tempted by this section, and I have one for sale online, but it has been sitting for a long time, so I will probably put it in the booth. And in the booth, I have several. I usually sell them for like $12 to $15, and they're pretty decent sellers for me. So I just like them, and I use a lot of them too. Actually, I've taken some of the ones out of the booth and use them for weddings or events when I need them. So moving into these purses, I didn't really find much that looks to be 80s vintage, but I wasn't attracted to it. And then here I am. I found a nice pair of Levi's in like the men's jeans section, and I've been looking for just a super baggy fit, and I decided to give this one a try, and it really worked out. So I say this is a small but mighty haul. That menorah is also high resale value. And now we're going to switch to a little bit of item restoration. Okay, so I'm going to do some live narration here. This piece I picked up, as you saw, and it turns out these go for like anywhere from $60 to like $250, depending on how large they are and what kind of condition they're in. So I'm going to come in here and do a little cleanup work. I'm nervous about doing it. As you can see, there's like an onion skin that needs to be moved over there. There's like some pieces here. And then there's like this broken piece of glass inside. So I think this was reframed at one point. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over and get into it, and you guys are gonna be with me. Okay. I don't have the best setup for this kind of work, but we're gonna give this a go. Now, this is part of vintage resale, is kind of, you do have to restore items from time to time. It's very nerve-wracking, I think. So we're gonna do the best we can. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the pressure on. I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm hoping I can just, there we go, lift it out. Okay. All right, just a couple pieces went flying, but that's no big deal. I'm gonna lift the glass. Okay, that came off clean. And I will probably Windex the glass inside and out before I put this all back together. Okay, so this is going well. This little piece I'm gonna move here, and I feel like this could be moved as well. I went ahead and sped this up so you don't have to sit through me rearranging things, but there was a lot of pieces out of place on this frame. As you can see, these really traveled everywhere, so I'm going to very carefully move them, and maybe I'll just fill this little area out a little bit. And I'm trying really hard to have a light touch here, it seems. Here's this shard of glass that was left in here. So we'll set that aside. And then these pieces could be cleaned up just a little bit of the sagebrush. There were little bitty pieces everywhere, so I ended up getting some tweezers because particularly within that miniature rug loom, it was really tricky to get them all out. So this took quite a while to rearrange. Okay, first, okay, I think it's in, ooh, it's scaring me. Okay. Let's move everything out of the way. We're gonna hold it firm, flip it over. Okay. Some fluff on this side. Oh my God. Okay, what's happening? Hearing crunch sounds, and that's scaring me, but I'm sure it's fine. Let's take a final look. There. That looks really good. I think no matter what I do, there's gonna be some little bits and pieces moving. I can see it back in there, which is okay. You know, it's an authentic piece. But I think that looks pretty good. Okay, let's talk about these grapes. If you saw this on my previous video, you saw the moment when I found these. So I'm probably gonna end up putting these in the booth because there are a number of these available online, and it's really tough to get like a price point on it. You know, some people wanted $150, some people had it down to like 30. So I think this one's in really good condition. There are some scratches on some of the lucite grapes. Some of these deep scratches are really white, like it kicked up some of that material. But the other thing that was a problem with this was at the Goodwill, they had marked this in their red wax pen. So this area had red wax all over it. I tried to melt it off and then it just all turned pink. So I ended up having to sand the wood a little bit. You can still see some remnants, and then I went ahead and oiled the wood, and now it's looking a lot nicer. But as you can see, this area is oiled, but then in here, it's looking like a totally different color. I was able to get some of this underside. So I'm gonna come in with a paintbrush and dab some oil in here to just give it a consistent look all around. And I'm using the Bearded Chef Wood Hydrating Oil. It's my favorite product. It comes in both this like liquid, and then it also comes in a tin that are more like solid. I'm really using the liquid a lot more these days. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I'll probably speed this up. But yeah, this is working out pretty well. So in a nutshell, yet again, wood oil to the rescue. I swear, a little bit of sandpaper and wood oil, you can repair anything that is super chewed up or damaged. Okay, so here we're gonna try and get out some of these. I don't know if the camera's picking this up. Yeah, so these white spots, those are like deep gouges in the lucite. So, okay, I'm gonna be brave here. I have a, I don't know what grit sandpaper this one is. This one's 800. So I think I'm gonna start with this grittier one, and just to kind of get that big piece off. It's not really working. Oh, there, okay, that's off. Let me just take it around, and then I'm gonna switch to the fine grit and see if I just can't get these like, this is scaring me a little bit. It's looking okay, actually. I mean, it looks better than those deep gouges, because you know, your choice is you're stuck with those deep gouges, or you can try and correct and see what happens. Okay, now this, and actually I'm just gonna use this oily cloth to clean it, and maybe that'll help give it its sheen back. There, I mean, It's still imperfect, but I think that looks better than before. But I need to be really conservative with this treatment because I don't want to go nuts on this thing. Other offenders is this one and this one. So let's see if we can improve that. Oh, and then there's some down here too. Okay. See, now I'm like getting addicted. I gotta... Ooh. Slow my roll a little bit. Okay. Get that oil on there. I mean, I bet on camera that looks really good. I can barely see any damage in person. This is actually working really well. I'm kind of shocked. So, okay, let's take a look at this one. That one has, looks like a paint chip. Oh, yep. I mean, is there any better tool than the human fingernail? I don't think so. All right, so let's go here. Just easy does it. Don't want to get nuts. Okay. I just want this one a little more. Okay, I'm kind of amazed. This is looking really good. Okay, wow, that worked really well. Hey, not bad for someone who has no idea what she's doing most of the time. I'm gonna come back in on these two. Okay, while I'm finishing these grapes, which by the way went so well, I want to do a little cross promotion of another channel called Rami's Retro. This wonderful, adorable person is on YouTube as well, and also thrifts in the Phoenix area. And actually, I found him, watched his video, and saw us picking up the exact same items and setting them down in the exact same Goodwills. So that was kind of thrilling for me. But yeah, it's called Rami's Retro. He's awesome. Give him, watch his videos, give him a like, give him a follow. He has a slightly different style and aesthetic than I do, but there's some good crossover there. So I thought I'd just mention that while these grapes are getting the polish of their life. And again, I was really impressed with how well this worked out. Okay, and just one more while I have this work area available. I just wanted us to admire this piece. It is so beautiful. This brutalist style brass menorah. I'll go ahead and take the tag off. Unbelievable. I found one other online for sale right now for $225. Now, I'm not going to charge that much, but my big debate is, if you can see in here, there are still candle wicks and wax from its use. And I think I'm gonna list it as is. I just don't know that I feel right making that decision. So hopefully it's this item's next buyer can decide what to do. But it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just so absolutely gorgeous. I think this was like such an amazing find. And I'm very excited to list this one as well. And here we are with the final photographs that I took of these items for the listings, which are live now. This turned out so gorgeous, and I'm super excited to sell it. And then, of course, I'm in love with this piece. I did end up deciding to leave the wicks and leave the wax. I think that the next owner can decide what to do with that, keep the history, or spruce it up and make it like new. It's just so beautiful. And then if you've been with me for a couple videos, you were there when I picked up this amazing Afghan. I mean, look at those colors. It is so awesome. It's very large. I went ahead and staged that. It is also listed on my Etsy shop. So please shop with me. And thank you most of all for being here. I appreciate you and hope you enjoyed that quiet meditative restoration. Bye.